just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Pack Her Up, boys. And don't forget, head over to our YouTube, like and subscribe. Also, make sure to subscribe on Spotify. You can now comment on Spotify. Obviously, you can also comment on YouTube. Guys, trust me, we just had a long chat about some big plans for the YouTube. You want to be subscribed. And also Spotify too with the visual medium. We've got huge plans. So head over. It takes 2 seconds to subscribe. And it really does support the platform. Also, do not forget December 2nd at 6 p.m. So Monday. So I think that's 2 Mondays from now.
Yeah, not this Monday, the coming Monday after.
Yeah, so not this Monday coming, but the next Monday, 6 p.m. One of the biggest drops we've ever done. Never done this before. And it is the perfect Christmas gift. Trust me, you're going to love this. I cannot express to you how long, we've been working on this, like literal years. And, man, I could provide the emails. It has been literal years we've been frigging working on this.
It's almost outdated me.
Put it this way. when we actually got what was going to be dropping, we were actually, we actually had been working on that for 2 years. Like, that's how long it took to turn up. Anyway, you'll see when we get close to it. Obviously, we'll drop some content over the next week or so. That is not next Monday, but the Monday after 6 p.m. Also, Grumpy Coffee enjoyers, next week, everything should be back up and running as normal. Thank you so much for your patience, guys. It's just been such a crazy launch. So many things have happened that we just did not see coming. But everything should be back to normal midweek, and then we're full steam ahead after that, guys. So thank you so much for your patience, guys. We really do appreciate it. Everything back to normal, and you'll be able to subscribe. You'll be getting your coffee when you order it, all that kind of good stuff. So thank you for your patience. If you have any issues, please go to the website, shoot us an email, or DM me on the Grumpy Coffee Instagram. We will always make sure to get to them and sort them out as soon as we can. Boys, how you been? Sandor, the great
Good,
dog.
brother, good. I just actually finished my grumpy coffee. Just wanted to...
Yeah. So last week, apparently, Sandor was sipping an empty cup, apparently.
Last week, Denon wanted me to use it as a prop, so I just want to make it clear that this week I've finished my coffee and it's done.
He was faking drinking coffee.
Fake sips. And it was lovely, of course, the grumpy coffee. But good to be here, mate. Friday, end of the week. I did have a little mindset reflection for us this week that featured in studio. And it may or may not be very relevant for some of us, in this room. But the quote that I wrote up on the board is, we cry about having too much on our plate when our goal was to eat.
Ooh.
Now, it's a great reflection and perspective. We all know what we want, what we want to achieve, but a wish and a dream is just a goal without a timeline.
Ooh.
Right? So put it this way. The perspective goes like this. We ask to be stronger. So the universe, or whatever you want to call it, throws us challenges, throws us adversities. Maybe we ask for more time with our friends and family and we get a call from mum and dad that we ignore, or rather than spending time with our partner or our kids, we're on social media or we're on the TV. The opportunities are all around us for the things that we ask for. So just a little reflection before we pack it up for the end of the week. Reflect on our week and remember the things that we ask for are the things that actually we face and are the things that we want. So put it into perspective, and that little quote, we cry about having too much on our plate, but remember the goal was to eat.
That's very relevant to me right now, because sometimes I stress about I go, what if people don't enjoy the content, or what if they start, liking other people's content, and you stress and all that kind of stuff. And then you try to go back and think, bro, you used to, when you first started, would have just been stoked that you could do this for a living. And now all of a sudden you're worried about, not being the best at this, or, people not liking what you do. When in reality, back when you were desperate, you were so desperate for this to work, you would have said, mate, if I could just do this full time, I'd be stoked. But sometimes you get so caught up in the next goal and achieving the next goal that you don't stop and appreciate what you have at this moment. So I appreciate that little quote. It does drive home into what you have for sure. Matty, thoughts, mate?
Yeah, that's a tough one to follow, Sandor. I won't lie, that took me a good 20, 25 seconds to really process what that meant. But no, that's really good. It's Friday, end of the year. I love this time of year because the cricket is starting. It's actually, we're about 50 minutes away. Kind of been waiting for this since grand final day. So I'm pumped. That's me this afternoon and tonight. I'm very excited.
Now, I
And
had
it's
a
like
little-
deep quote. And he goes, "I'm pumped for the cricket."
Hey,
all right.
hey, it's different. It's different levels. It's
I had a
different
little
levels.
Ask Me Anything on a social media now, Matty. I've got to ask you. You reached out and asked a question about.
did, yes.
Are we on the avocados? What's happening here?
I love avocados,
Yeah.
and then I was
So you just wanted to make sure.
that I wasn't eating too many,
gotcha.
too many. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. Because Sandor put
Just health tips with Matty.
Ask Me Anything
He's on the
yesterday.
vitamins now. He's on the avocados.
My
We're doing
God.
good.
I just
things
wanted to
there.
make sure I wasn't eating like.
How much are you eating?
So with breakfast, I'll probably put half
There you go,
half
brother.
an avocado.
You're on
in.
the right track.
Okay.
How much were you eating when you thought you were eating too much,
Half an avocado
you're
in
good.
in one meal.
bro?
No. I didn't actually think I was
Bro.
eating too much. I was just getting clarification.
Oh, mate. Holy heck, is that
How
what
am I supposed to know?
It's half an avocado. It's not going to kill you.
No, I know
here
it's not
for.
going to kill me.
That's
I
what
just
I'm
wanted
here
to
for.
make sure.
Boys, if you're out there eating half an avocado,
You're
each meal,
okay.
you're good. You're gonna be okay.
Don't wig out and message Sandor and he's asked me anything. Just be like, yeah, I should be sweet. Mate, you could be eating 3 avocados.
3/4 of an avocado, you're a
Yeah,
pig.
that's
Don't
concerning.
even dare.
That's concerning. Also, I just want to give a massive shout out to the Rusty Rabbit boys. They actually came out to Airlocker
Legends.
and put on the coffee for us a couple of weeks ago. Really early in the morning. They were so good. Give Rusty Rabbit boys a follow on the Instagram. They actually do this catering and that. They've also got 2 stores that they sell food at, which is like burgers and that. They're absolute legends. So give them a follow, actually. I've got my Rusty Rabbit Instagram here.
Great blokes.
You know what I like about the Rusty Rabbit is their branding. Rusty
Yeah,
Rabbit.
they got it right, don't they? They do
Absolutely.
some cool food too. I need to get in there.
So they've actually got 2 cafes. They got Sydney Brunch Cafe. So they got one in Darlinghurst and one in St Leonard's. But they also, put on. So for example, we wanted to put on coffee at Shandor's Airlocker, and so we didn't have the portable cart. Like they cost thousands of dollars to get. And so we rang these boys. Boom, they got it done literally in a week. Matter of fact, less than a week. They were away. They got back on Thursday. In 2 days, they were already down at Airlocker, fully serving the coffee and everything like that. So a massive thank you to the Rusty Rabbit guys. And as I said, they got 2 stores. Go to their Instagram. They actually used to stock Bloke in a Bar beer as well. So Matt, they've been supporters since day dot. We appreciate that. So yeah, give them a follow, Rusty Rabbit. Guys, as Matty said, Test cricket starts today. Matty, I'll ask you this because you know more about cricket.
Okay.
The worry I have with Paddy Cummins-led Australian side is, although the last few years has been quite good, they've been really high highs, but also there's been some really low lows as well, where you've just gone, where did this come from? Where the glory days of Australian cricket, our low lows weren't that low. They were just like a bit low, but we had the high highs. And I worry
As a
with
kid, we never lost.
exactly.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
And so I worry with the Paddy Cummins situation right now where, let's say India come out and beat us, and then let's say over the next year or 2, we don't have that much success. Again, I'm not saying that will happen, but let's just assume it did. I'm worried that because we haven't prepared for the future, and then if we have a year or 2 that's not great, people would just remember this era as just this terrible era because we didn't prepare for the future, and then you only remember the last couple of years of a reign. And a good example of that is imagine a gun NRL player that has the first 8 years of his career is a gun, but the last 3 years are not great.
Remember.
Everyone always remembers the last 3 years. But then you add on to the fact that this current roster has waited so long to change, to get the aging batters and that out of there, or at least blood some new guys. I worry that could have an impact on the legacy of this current roster, when in reality, when you look at the overall legacy, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I agree. I think that's right, but I don't think that it'd be unfair. Like if we lost to India and then had a bad Ashes series next year, then unfortunately Cummins deserves to be looked at poorly because that's not acceptable.
But don't you also look at he did the first time they'd ever beaten India in India?
Yeah, won a World Cup in India.
Yeah, won a World Cup in India. Sorry, and then also drew an Ashes, won an Ashes.
Yep, won the World Test Championship.
Won the World Test Championship.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Even you already are going, these next 2 years are so important that he'll be remembered in a negative light. But look at all those positive things that have already happened.
For sure. And obviously it hasn't happened now. I'm back in Australia to win this series 5-0. You're right though. It's an aging it's definitely an aging roster. We've got the Ashes next year, and I think 90% of the team are over 30 years old.
Put it this way. Imagine, let's say we lost this series and maybe another series next year or whatever. I don't know what the schedule is. But we had a gun roster coming through that had been blooded.
In that time.
Or even before that time. Then people go, well, at least like we were preparing for the future. The concern I have is we go poorly and we aren't prepared for the future. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, but if we do that and we are trying to prepare for the future, this is the future we should have prepared for. We've had 2 dud summers in a row. So
I see what you're saying for sure. What I'm saying is that's the preparing for the future. Boat has already sailed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I'm not saying like if they start blooding people now and they go poorly, then I agree with you. Then I go, well, that should have happened a couple of years ago. So what I'm saying is that the only way that they can kind of almost protect this generation is by winning the next 2 series, because then people go, well, yeah, they didn't blood the.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
They didn't blood the next generation, but they did have a gun run where they won all these things. You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you. Focus on this Indian series. Focus on the next Ashes. And then after that, you kind of like wipe it clean, and then you worry about blooding the future for the next cycle after that.
Because if, as I said, like if they go, all right, we're going to start blooding people now, and they lose, and everyone's going to say, well, you should have blooded people ages ago.
Exactly, and that would be right. But no, you are. I get what you're saying. Yeah. I was a bit confused. No. Yeah, we have to have. Don't worry about blooding people for the future now. We got to win this series. We got to win the next Ashes, and then after that, that's when we can start worrying about the future.
Because, Matty, is this not a massive milestone? Because, like, we're gone to the glory days of Australian cricket. I'm not saying I'm a big cricket fan, but I knew all the Australian cricketers. Like, they had huge personas, big personal brands. They were big on the news. Is it a sport thing, or is it the fact that, like...
It's growing again. It's coming back.
Yeah. But is this the moment Test cricket's back in Oz, we have a good summer, and we kind of
I reckon it was a couple of years ago. Because, like, so there was this period where it was the darkest days and we had a really bad reputation with the Sandgate stuff.
Yeah, that was the lowest of low.
So that was the lowest of low. And then they brought Payne in to captain the side out of that era and become loved again. And then obviously the situation within happened, and I feel like he got hung out to dry, but that is what it is. Again, I'm just a casual fan, so I'm... First of all, I want to say, guys, everything I say could be wrong. So I'm speaking from an absolute nuffy perspective. But then Paddy Cummins comes in, and they actually have quite a bit of success. And also, I do think that this current roster is actually... Obviously, they're not as big a stars as the early 2000s and all that kind of stuff. Or maybe earlier. But I think they're growing.
I'm on board with that. I think the golden era was obviously the 90s, early 2000s, where...
Like, you knew all of them.
You knew all of them.
Yeah.
It was the greatest cricket team of all time, and I love watching videos of that old team. But I think you're right. I think Cummins has done a really good job because everyone was off the Australian cricket team in 2018. When that sandpaper happened, everyone was like, nah, this is a disgrace. They've come back. I think the Ashes last year, when we all I think this Johnny Bairstow thing kind of galvanised the country a bit. We nearly won. Pretty disappointed we didn't. And then the World Cup. I think cricket in Australia is in a really good spot right now. You're right, but it's definitely not as big as the early 2000s. But
it is. The other day of like, is it Shane Watson?
Yep.
Yeah, Andrew Simons and fast bowler Mitch.
Oh, Johnson.
Yeah, and they've got their rigs out. Shirts off. Just one like,
it's the best photo ever.
And they're Jack too.
Yeah.
Love that. So, yeah, it's interesting to see how they handle this because, like...
Because you're right. It's an old roster.
Yeah.
It's an old roster.
And so they can't really afford to go, oh, yeah, okay, we're going to start blooding people now because then if they lose, then everyone will be like... Whereas... Because like they've got India and then England come out next year.
Yeah. So two huge series.
So they could almost. I still believe that they should have blooded people earlier. However, I do think you make a point where like if they win that England series and they win India, they can almost go, okay, reset. We're resetting everything now.
Yeah.
And just almost like they're retired to a degree. I still don't think that would make it acceptable. Like, I still think you could look at it and say they should have blooded people earlier.
Yeah.
But I think that you could say, okay, they were planning for after that England series, that's when it was going to be all reset. However, what I was talking about at the start, if they don't win and they have to reset...
Oh, big trouble.
That's a huge negative then because it's like you guys hung on for so long and you just didn't win these 2 series.
Yeah.
So we don't even get the bonus of... Because I'm assuming that the positive of not blooding young players now is because we can win now.
Yep.
You know, like as in the positive of there's a pros and cons. The cons is if you blood young players, you might lose because they're inexperienced. But the pro is you've got guns that are ready to go and win right now in the squad. But I guess, again, guys, like I know there's cricket fans are probably listening saying, Dan, you make no sense. So
it makes sense to me. It makes sense to me.
Matty, who should we be excited to watch? Like top bowler, top batsman, to hype it up? Who should we be excited to watch?
That's the thing. Like, we've had the same 4 bowlers for like 10 years. We've had Stark, Cummins, Hazelwood, Nathan Lyon, and they've got us out of trouble for basically a decade when, you know, Steve Smith and Dave Warner weren't getting runs.
Hasn't our batting been a bit weak lately, though?
Batting's been weak for a while now.
Who's gonna stand up for the batting then?
I have a sneaking suspicion. This is the obvious answer. I just have a feeling Steve Smith's going to have one of his biggest summers. Yeah, I don't know. I just got a feeling about Steve Smith this summer.
So cricket fans, like, treat it as if we're casual fans that you can educate. So if we're saying something, if I'm saying something wrong here, just leave in the comment section. Say, oh, you got this wrong, or you know, this is actually what's happening in the cricket land. Cricket world.
Sports, we appreciate it. I'm actually excited to get the cricket back in Oz.
Yeah, well, put it this way: whenever I see a league fan saying things that might be a little bit wrong, but they are trying to get into league,
of course,
I always try and bring them in. I don't ridicule them. I'm always like, yeah, man, like, okay, no, that actually didn't happen. This happened, but you know, love that you're trying to get involved. Whereas sometimes, like, you get things wrong about sport, you get absolutely pizzled, and you're like, bro, I'm trying to help you, sport. I'm trying to support it. You're telling me to beat it.
There's some angry people out there.
Yeah. So yes, I come in peace, guys. I'm trying to put it this way: if you're a cricket fan right now, and all I said was nonsense, the positive is cricket is being talked about on the biggest sports podcasts in the country.
If you're playing cricket, then what's your contribution? Are you
I literally have never played cricket in my life. No, I don't.
Off the back fence?
No.
Surely.
Mate,
a little bit of speed?
When I say I've never played a game of cricket, I genuinely mean I've never played a game of cricket.
Just, before the game and that?
Oh, yeah, like maybe 10 times in my life, like batted, never bowled. So I don't know anything about playing cricket. So
I actually played cricket for a couple seasons.
Did you?
Yeah, no good, but...
Really? What were you?
More of a bowler, medium pace.
Oh my God.
Tried to just get it on the stumps and do my best.
And you say medium pace because you couldn't bowl any faster? Or yeah, okay.
I think it was a technique issue. I had a bit of a bat here and there. I really excelled on the field, just pumping the boys up, taking catches, getting around.
You're a locker room guy.
More of those 1%ers, just adding the value to the team.
You're a locker room guy. I like that. Also, guys, don't forget, give us a follow on the feed for Sportsbet, but if you actually go to Sportsbet and you go to the cricket...
Well, I did put this in, but I think we're going to be live before... Sorry, the game will be live before.
Oh, so they won't be able to get around it?
I don't think so.
Oh, damn. Okay, well... Anyway, give us a follow on the feed. But shouldn't you be able to bet even after it's started?
I don't... You know what? I'll text Hammy.
Because it's the results wouldn't have been in yet?
Well, it's first inning, so I think that would have got rid of it.
Okay, don't worry about it then. Don't worry about it. Anyway, give us a follow on the feed, guys. As we all know, I lost the bloody competition with Dan Orange horse racing because obviously we got international footy. I was concentrating on that.
Did you decrease the margin a little bit or did it stretch a bit?
Nah, it stretched quite a bit. But like, what a nerd. Like, I want to make Sportsbet happy. I want to like bet really well on that. Like, I didn't give a shit. I was just betting about whatever. I got other things to worry about. Where he's like, please, Daddy Sportsbet, please pat my head and say I'm a good little boy. That's what Dan Orange was like. Whereas I was like, I'm the rogue of the family. I don't give a shit, baby. I'm a bad boy. That's what I was like. So go get your Pat's Orange while I'll go out on the Ballarat. You know what's funny is like we spoke about this already, but Ballarat in Victoria. No one knows rugby league in Victoria.
Yes,
so in Ballarat racing, I'm going to be walking on that fashion show and people are going to be like, because they're not going to get the joke. They're going to just see an ugly dude dressed poorly walking on the catwalk going, whereas if this was in Sydney, they'd be like, oh, there's Beak, he's taking the piss.
Mate, it'd be value for money to just, like I said, have someone, a videographer paid only to capture reactions and get right in the crowd. Just be like, what's
so embarrassing, bro.
My girlfriend's from Ballarat, so I go there every Christmas. And
can we pay a crowd to cheer or something like?
Whenever people ask what my job is, they're like rugby. They call it rugby down there, so they got no idea.
Just playing a couple of people in the crowd. Jeez, he's good looking. That model.
He's different looking, but he's unique. I'll take that. I'll take unique. That's what most models are. They're unique looking. You got like remember the face. Like that's what I think's hot anyway. Like I think unique faces are hot. That's what my wife told me.
modelling.
Yeah, she's like, you don't need to be hot. You want to be unique and remembered. I said, thanks, babe. I appreciate that.
That's a good wife.
Appreciate that. Striking, they used to say.
Striking, yeah.
Now, you can be strikingly ugly, but at least you're striking. Give us a follow on Sportsbet feed. Ricky Stuart, not happy. Stop the press.
Shock.
Stop the press. Okay, so he said it's basically paraphrasing here, but he says it's the worst NRL draw he's seen in his 22 years of coaching, or in his coaching career. I guess the only problem is that they travel the same amount as North Queensland travel. It's like 40,000 Ks. So if you go to Random Stats Guy,
NRL.com actually they had a draw hub on their website. You can click into each team and it's got like pretty much every detail to the kilometre of how many kilometres each team are travelling. Yeah, it's really good. I went on there as a what's the word? I just wanted South's draw to be bad so I could be angry, just like every other fan.
Are you happy?
But Souths are actually pretty good. So
I'm just trying to find the stat here. I can't bloody find it. But
Any belters first round that stands out?
Roosters Broncos round 1 is good.
Para Storm, did I say that? Is that right?
Para Storm.
Yeah.
Yep. I think Dolphins Souths would be good just because Wayne against former club, which would be good.
Little narrative.
Where the hell did this? Oh, here we go. Okay, so furthest distance travelled in kilometres. So Warriors actually travel nearly double than everyone, pretty much double than everyone. But then Canberra, they travel 40,000 Ks, 528. North Queensland travel 40,028. And Ricky Stewart saying it's the worst draw he's seen. And look, granted, I'm sure he's gone into detail about, he had to travel a long time, like a lot in a small space of time or whatever like that. But bro, if you're traveling the same amount of Ks as North Queensland, you can't say it.
But like they're going to Vegas as well, so you can minus all those kilometres.
Yeah, true. But what's crazy, but ironically, and I know Ricky would never do this because he doesn't care who he plays, he would want to win. But they actually play the least amount of games against top sides. So also they have the most 7-day turnarounds of any club.
So he's just pinning it on travel.
I think he might be pinned on trouble. Look, I don't. Maybe he's got more of an insight that. Well, not maybe. He definitely has more of an insight than us. But like, I think if you're a Raiders fan, you look at we play the top 8 teams the least. I'm pretty sure, and we have the most 7-day turnarounds. Like that's I reckon that's all right.
There's some pretty big highlights.
Yeah, like I know the travel does suck. I get it, but it's not like you're traveling a crazy amount more than the second best team, which is North Queensland, which travels 40,000 Ks.
Yeah, and what would you trade in? Would you trade in the 7-day turnarounds for less travelled kilometres? I wouldn't.
Yeah, I think 7-day turnarounds, but also playing the least amount of top 8 sides. I say, look, I don't know if it's the best draw out of everyone else, but I wouldn't consider that a bad draw. I'd like Raiders fans, let us know what you think. Do you think the travel is the most important thing? Do you agree with Ricky? Do you think it's unbalanced? I actually don't mind it if I was a Raiders fan. But yeah, I'd love to get
play quote.
I'd love to get Ricky Stewart's. Sorry, not Ricky Stewart's. I'd love to get Raiders fans' thoughts on this. What are your thoughts on the draw? Do you think it's fair, not fair, okay, not so okay? But yeah, some of the other. What I have been surprised at is the content around the draws. When the hell did last year and maybe even the year before, I saw some good content around it. But when did it become? It's almost the best day of the year for content for clubs.
It's amazing, and they're just outdoing each other for the whole. It's.
Have you seen some of them?
I love it.
What was your favourite?
I've seen a little bit,
mate. Like there's just so many. Like you've got the Warriors in memes. You've got was it the Knights that did the Mario one?
Knights did Super Mario. Manly did Royal Rumble.
Yeah, Royal Rumble. Then you had the Canberra Raiders did all like content creators.
Have they been prepped up maybe to say like, hey, let's.
Yeah, I think
turn it on.
It's become a bit of a tradition, but it just gets bigger and bigger every year.
This year, I couldn't believe it how like every club pretty much, and they all killed it. Like there wasn't. Maybe there was one club that didn't do as big as others, so I'm forgetting. But like even like little cool stuff, like the Dragons did they got some young fellas in there and they did that game where you like different word like so. Kind of hard to explain, but you know how you have like different pictures next to each other and it says the name of something?
Oh, yeah.
And so like, Jerome, Lou, I, and the last picture might be an I, the second picture might be a toilet, like the loo.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm
saying?
saying?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's what the Dragons did. So there was some super creative ones.
Roosters got that Big John to do the content, the English.
Yep.
Big content creator.
Then you got Sharks did the politically correct one.
That was my favorite.
That was that straddled the light, because you know how passionate people get about politics.
But also like me used to working at New South Wales, and we all know. Like, there is so much red tape. You can't post anything.
Oh, yeah.
And they just went, screw it.
Yep. I respected it. They were just like, we're all in here. So I respected that. So, yeah, there was so many good things. I'm trying to think who won. Look, I did like the Royal Rumble one from Manly. And basically DCE kicking people out of the ring and that. I thought that was really cool. I'm pretty sure it was the Newcastle Knights that did the Mario one. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that was good. Storm did like a dating app one.
Yeah, I seen that.
The Hinge one, which was good.
That was funny.
Yeah, so Knights did the basically Mario, which is cool. Man, content's getting so good from the clubs. It really is.
It's unreal.
Yeah, I hope it just continues to progress.
Yeah.
There's so much opportunity.
Oh, mate, I know it's hard because you want to find the balance between getting access to the players and not, but
which would be hard. I can imagine. Well, I know.
Yeah, you would know. But I just think that eventually. It is just some of the content the clubs are going to create is going to be next level.
And there just needs to be an understanding internally, as we've spoken about before, footy department, content, all these guys. But it's like, hey, guys, this is super valuable for everything that we're doing.
Yep.
Hopefully that's the way it trends next year.
Well, I mean, look at the power that the Warriors social media team has done. Don't get me wrong, it was their results on field that was the foundation for everything. But the Warriors' social media is unbelievable.
And they've contributed to building a brand.
Yeah.
How is that not important?
It's massively important. Put it this way: think about how many more people, probably the younger generation, are connected to the Warriors brand. Purely, not even for the games on the weekend, purely just because they enjoy the social media content that's being created. And I think sometimes the older generation, they don't understand that there are a lot of young people that may not watch the entire game of rugby league, but will follow a team just because they enjoy the content in their feed.
Yeah.
But then what happens is if they follow on their feed, that's when they go, oh, you know what? I might go down to a Warriors game. Or, you know what, guys? We're bored this weekend. Let's go check it out. And then before you know it, they're a fan. And so, yeah, having good content, it actually matters.
And you create movements off that, virality, up the wires, all that stuff. That wasn't a thing once upon a time, So all those opportunities come about as well.
For sure. So, it's funny though, because when you speak to a lot of these media people in the clubs, they want to do more, but they unfortunately, the club just never lets them. And it'll be a constant push and pull because these media people are usually relatively young at these clubs, and they're trying as hard as they can, but the club's always like, nah,
it needs to be top down. That gives them the reign.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm trying to think of some other clubs that have been really, really good content-wise.
I think Penrith have set the bar high recently. I know it's easy when you win, but every year before the season starts, before the finals start, they do this mad hype-up video.
Yep.
So, yeah, Penrith are really good.
Yeah, and I thought, I clearly remember Penrith, but I know this is a lot more consistent. I've liked the content coming around debutantes and telling the story and showing the emotional moments. That stuff's worth its weight in gold that no one sees.
Yeah, I think as well, I don't know, they must have had a shift in their social media strategy in the last year or so, but the Roosters, I don't know what's different, but it's so, and I hate the Roosters, but I love looking at their social content. They do simple stuff. After each game, they'll just take 10 photos of Roosters fans in the crowd, but I don't know, they make it look sick. Their re-signing graphics are mad. I think the Roosters are really, really up there.
Yeah. There's so many clubs that are doing a good job, really are. So, yeah, shout out. Storm have always been good. Knights, they've been good. To be honest, I think everyone's beginning to kind of catch up a little bit.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Panthers, Warriors, Broncos are good. To be honest, every club has their unique kind of flavour of social media content too. And also, sometimes, a club, you might have a media guy or girl at the club that just don't have the same backing as other clubs do from top down, as you said. Yeah. And so, they want to do more content, but unfortunately, they're just not allowed to. And they're sitting there going, please, just let us try.
I agree. With the Storm, they're super consistent, but with the Warriors, you can tell that there's a real young crop group of guys in there who understand the trends, and you know that they've been given a rein to just unleash.
Dolphins have been really good at almost embracing the like disruptor role. Like they've been really like very cheeky, like almost the way they like their kind of relationship they have with the Broncos. Like I think Dolphins have been cool because they get it. Dolphins need to appeal to the next generation because they don't have that rusted in fan base that a lot of other teams do.
I think Titans as well. They've been good for ages, the Titans. They just kind of fly under the radar just because they're the Titans.
Smaller club.
But their social media's always been great.
Yeah. So, I think everyone is... I reckon a couple of years ago, you could probably look at a few clubs and go, you're probably not putting the resources in that you should. I think pretty much every side now does decent social media.
Yeah,
I think so. But like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, you could go, this club is a bit quiet or doesn't have the resources or hasn't hired someone to take care of this. Nowadays... I enjoy following every club.
You're right, though. There's a shift in the industry. Like the blueprint of treating your business as a media company, it's known. And I think slowly we're going to see the shift towards that, which is great for the fans.
And when you actually sit back and you go, like the potential to generate revenue the clubs have is actually insane. Like
insane.
let's say you're a top 8 side with a bunch of superstars in your side. Every day you've got access to create content with the biggest names in rugby league every day, and it's for free. You don't have to pay for it. They're already there. You've already got all the equipment to do it. You can do it every single day. Like if you actually stopped and said, hey, can we be a media company, as you said, and we've got the biggest stars in the game. Like for example, I'll just use Rabbitohs. Every day they've got access to Jack White and Latrell Mitchell, Cody Walker, Cam Murray, Campbell Graham. Every single day, they have some of the biggest names in rugby league, if not in sport in the country. Like, companies would pay hundreds of thousands of dollars just to get them for a week or two to do content with. And they've got it for free, and they have to do it. They're contractually obligated, and also the players want to do it usually.
Yeah. And if I'm in the 4 walls, it's more about giving access and right to the content team because, as we know, like it's not the main strength of a football player to build their personal brand, but they've also got to focus on footy. But if you can just give the people around them access to have a touch point, show different footage, mate, sky's the limit.
The one thing I like advice if I'd give anyone that like is creating content if I was at a club. Create stories. And what I mean by 100%. That is like at the start of the year, set up a narrative that whatever it is, it's Latrell getting fit again or whatever. And then follow the journey all the way through the year and do that with multiple different players. Like it's the story that people connect to. It's the narrative. It's the beginning, middle and end. The people.
Wayne back at South, people would love to understand what's going on.
Yeah. So I think like creating and rather than just like each day rocking up, I'm going to shoot some content. Yeah. More think about like, okay, what is Latrell's story this year? It's about redemption. It's about the weight of the world on his shoulders. It's about, the pressure of one of the biggest clubs in the history of the game succeeding again. It's Wayne Bennett returning. And then there's like, Cody Walker. What's his story? Okay, it's about legacy. It's about he's coming towards the twilight of his career. Yeah. What can he leave behind?
Yeah, you're right though. Storytelling is the commodity. Gone are the days where you can just post anything and get cheap views for content.
You have to create a story with a start, middle and end that people can connect to, and characters in that story. Like, when you look at the Storm with the Cheese, when that was all created, like that's just all narrative and yarn and creating characters. And but anyway, they're all doing really well. So can't wait to see what happens this year. It's just going to get better and better.
I think, just last thing. I think the original one, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but the Raiders a few years ago announced the draw with like a scene from The Simpsons relevant to every team. I think that's what kicked it off a few years ago.
Yeah, you know what? Leave in the comment section who was the first club to make this draw announcement, because now I'm waiting for next year.
For sure.
I cannot, like it's almost become a day.
Yeah, seriously.
So let us know who was the actual first team to do this draw announcement with all this cool content. So good. It's truly, it's almost like rugby league's version of April Fool's Day, where you're waiting for the company or the business that you follow to release their April Fool's joke or whatever. But this is the draw.
Yeah.
Great stuff by all the clubs. Thanks for that. Don't forget, guys, good day. You know who needs a bit of a good day? Or he needs some good day? It's Ricky Stuart. Rookie Stuart. Use code DMP for 10% off. Combine that with the subscription, you get 20% off. BeGoodHealth.com.au. And just a reminder, guys, Grumpy Coffee, we should be all good to go next week. Everything, the pod should be back by midweek. Our beans will be back by Monday. So we are back up and running, good to go. Apologies for the delay, guys, but I just want to thank everyone so much for the support. It's been like the feedback on the quality of the coffee has been insane. So we're back up, good to go, everything's sorted. by next week, you'll be able to get your pods, you'll be able to get your beans. And then trust me, we got big plans for Grumpy Coffee. Huge plans. I cannot wait to reveal them to you guys because it's fun. It's different. Something we've never done before. Before. Don't forget Hungriest Player, Glenn Maxwell. Use code Maxwell for $7 off Mexican. Minimum order is $20. Alrighty, Matt King, contender for the New South Wales coach. Oh, okay. Matty King. Hey, was that you that tossed that up? Okay.
Yeah.
New South Wales Rugby League CEO Trodden told SEN that we'll have a coach by Christmas. His quote, "What we are looking for is someone who can fit into the structure seamlessly." Matt King, Brett White, John Cartwright were on the staff last year, so King does fit the criteria. He said, however, the list could be up to 12 people. Okay, so that is what we are looking for, is someone that can fit into that structure seamlessly, which would suggest the closest things to that is people that were already on the staff. So
yeah, so to be clear, there's been no quotes out in New South Wales Rugby League about Matt King. It's just what people are kind of saying from those comments. But yeah, I mean, for me, Matty King, he's been in the staff last year. He coached the 20s a few years ago. He's been under Trent Robertson for a while.
Yep.
He coached at the Rabbitohs for a while as an assistant. I mean, he's as good as anyone that hasn't coached NRL would be because, I mean, he's got a Brad Fittler medal, Wally Lewis medal. Like, he's played Origin. He's pretty sure he's won comps.
Yep.
I think I would go for someone who's coached NRL before, but if not, he's probably the best option.
Yeah, I mean, I like him. That was the one I tossed up. I wish I had some context. For whatever reason, I haven't had an opportunity to speak with a player and get feedback from what their experience is with him. But like Matty, he was an ex-Storm player, which counts for so much, in my opinion. He's done his tenure under Trent Robinson for a long time.
Did you say he won a Brad Fittler medal?
Yeah, 2004. Yeah. He won the Brad Fittler medal in 2005, not
He
Joey.
was my favourite player at one point, eh?
What?
Yeah,
He was the
crazy.
first big winger.
Sideshow
that was
Bob.
just like, he was a gun.
No way.
He was actually, I'd put him in the bucket of underrated, even though he is rated.
Yeah.
Wow, I used to love him. So, I think it ticks a lot of boxes. As Matty said, there's probably a hierarchy of a coach that has experience, but I believe he's top of the ladder for anyone who isn't an NRL coach.
Just quietly, how the hell is Joey not winning the Brad Fittler medal in 2005?
I know. I think Matt King has said this himself, but yeah, I'm just looking up Brad Fittler medal 2005, Matt King.
What? One of the greatest comebacks we've ever seen in the history of the game.
Yeah.
One of the greatest ever performances in Origin, and he didn't win the Brad Fittler medal.
Yeah, it's funny. There's a great interview. I'll put it in the show notes. It's like a 30-minute old Fox Sports video where they document Joey coming back. Matt King in it is like the star of the show. He's so funny. He's like, yeah, it was my debut. I saw Andrew Johns. I was getting all these tingles. I just wanted to punch him in the arm, but I couldn't because I was so scared because it was Andrew Johns. Oh, I was so good. And then he ends up getting the medal, and he's just like, I'm so happy I got the medal, but it was all Joey.
Matt King, the GOAT. What about claim to fame? Oh, you know that 2005 series everyone talks about? I played better than him. Far out. What's weird is I've always rated Matt King, like, for sure. There's big, rangy winger.
Yeah.
I didn't know that he had like that kind of resume though in regards to winning the Brad. Because like, look, all jokes aside, like probably Joey should have won it. However, he is at the least second or third best in the series.
Yeah.
That's incredible for a winger.
Yeah.
We always talk about Dane Gagai and how incredible his series is. Yeah, very hard to do.
Well, think about how good it was that we just won Origin in Suncorp. He was part of that series, and he scored a hat-trick in that game. So, yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Man, it's just like, Michael Maguire. He was like, looking back now, he had laid the foundation for
and with that win,
big win, built a foundation, good relationship with the players, and then the battle between him and Billy Slater that we like. Imagine, let's say Broncos didn't get him. Imagine the next 5 years of Billy Slater versus Madge, how hectic it would be.
Yeah, that would have been
because you just know Billy Slater is in the video room working up a plan to come back at Michael Maguire next year. So,
how interesting was that article that Reece Walsh came out and said that Madge was telling him how they targeted him in Origin.
Cool.
Oh, yeah. that was cool.
I didn't see that.
I would love to be a fly on the wall with that combo. Yeah, basically him detailing like what we did to combat Reece Walsh, so now he can use that to improve his game.
Wow,
very cool.
Yeah,
you don't often get that opportunity and insight.
That's the thing with Michael Maguire is like if he is anything, it's meticulous with his planning. Absolutely meticulous. it seems like the Broncos boys are buying in. Obviously, it's going to take a while to see, but yeah, I think he's a great coach for the Broncos. I'd be very surprised if he imagine how excited Madge is going to be with that roster, young gun roster. As long as he can learn from, because he had a gun roster at the Rabbitohs and, that kind of all didn't work out because eventually it seemed like it got a bit too much, a bit too intense. But I think he's learned. I think he's grown since then as a coach. I think
100%
he's grown.
agree. We had that conversation. But some of these clubs, like Broncos is one, Para is one. There's not many coaches. Like, there's some good coaches out there who we know do the merry-go-round of clubs. But like a guy like Madge, and I use the Eels as an example. I've had a chat to some of the boys in training now, and Rolsey goes there. But these are big presences that have been a part of big clubs. Like, they're coming in and making an impact. Yeah. They're not coming in and it's not chummy with the boys. It's like, hey, this is what we're doing. I just feel like players don't have a choice but to get on board. Which is a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially the Broncos. It's a big club. Yeah. It's a big club. You need a big, strong leader. So it's and like I know a lot of people try to point to his West Tigers day, but it's like, guys, like look what he was fighting against then. Like he's things getting leaked left, right, and centre, and I it's not the same admin. The admin's changed since then, but the administration he was dealing with them was like everything got leaked from that club. Like if you imagine you just going, how do I work in this environment where I'm just constantly getting almost stabbed in the back to a degree. Like it's so and he got them to 9th, and then obviously they went to 13th. But put it this way, it's not like they've improved since he left. Yeah. So it's like
that's the key thing.
He's not the problem. I can't wait to see Madge. But in regards to the New South Wales coach, mate, I don't know. I mean, John Cartwright, he was the Broncos coach when they made the grand final, the assistant coach. So that counts for something.
Yeah, for sure. He'd be on that list. A lot of
experience.
Yeah. Guys, don't forget Hubble Black Friday sale. That's right. Hubble Hub brings together live and upcoming sports in one view, so you won't have to jump in and out of different apps to find where to watch your favourite sports this summer. Even better, sport on Hubble Hub is integrated into one easy-to-navigate interface across your favourite apps. Hubble has an amazing Black Friday after that is available right now. Sorry, after that is a what? It says Hubble has an amazing Black Friday. Oh, sorry. My bad. Yeah, I read that wrong. Hubble has an amazing Black Friday offer that is available right now. 50% off Hubble Hub, now only $49.50 up until $11.59 Sunday, 8th of December. It's sport and entertainment for less. Plus, it's super convenient. Buy now at hubble.com.au. Lockie Ilias. The Dragons have reportedly reached out to the Rabbitohs for a medical check on Lockie Ilias. I tell you what, if they could land Lockie Ilias and Atkinson, I like that. I like that. Yeah. The only thing I see that how that not happening is like I'm going to assume that Shane Flanagan is going to back Kyle Flanagan to have one of those positions.
Yeah.
But then like I go, well, Lockie Ilias with Kyle Flanagan, like aren't they too similar?
Yeah, that combo doesn't strike as something.
The only combo that works for me is Atkinson and someone else.
Yes.
Because Atkinson's an out and out 6. Whereas like Flanagan, Croft, and Ilias, they're all similar players.
Yeah.
So it's undeniable. The winning combinations for the top teams, it's a genuine 6 and a 7.
Yeah. And so I just, look, maybe Flano just believes that Kyle Flanagan can play 6. And he had the 6 on his back this year. I don't think he actually played like a 6. I think he played more like a 7. However, maybe Shane thinks he can be a 6.
I feel like his game is a 7.
I think it's a 7. Like, he doesn't have much of a running game. He's more of a structured half, get you around the park. And I actually thought Kyle Flanagan was pretty good last year. Good, solid year.
Oh, yeah, for
Did his job. I just think that combinations-wise, surely you're looking at a guy like Atkinson, but maybe they're looking at it going, look, we've got
Is it a depth play? Can they afford to do that? Is it opportunistic with Ilias's current situation?
Respectfully, I'd probably rate Ilias higher than Flanagan, if I'm being honest. Well, like, Ilias has been to multiple prelims. He's younger.
I think he's been to one prelim.
Oh, I thought he'd been to 2 of them.
Nah, Reynolds was 21, and then Ilias 22, and then
okay. Apologies. Okay.
Is it a case
take that back.
Healthy competition? As well?
Okay. Maybe it's all right. Apologies. I take that back. I still, if I put it this way, if I had a club and I was signing a player and they were both on the same amount of money, I'd sign probably Lockie Ilias before Kyle Flanagan, just because of the age. In saying that, like Flano is what, 26, 27?
Yeah, he's not old by any means. I'm with you. I'd be going after Atkinson.
Just to be clear, I don't know who I would sign over each other. However, with the current makeup of the Dragons roster, including the coach, I think you put Flanagan at 7 and you get Atkinson at 6. Because, as I said, I thought Flanagan was good last year. I really did.
Yep.
And I think that Shane Flanagan and Kyle Flanagan don't get enough credit for the fact that there was 0 headlines around Kyle Flanagan last year. When that was the easiest headline to write.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
You know what I'm saying? Like heading into that, what was everyone talking about?
Yeah.
Everyone was talking about, oh, he's bringing his son to the club. It's not going to work, and there's going to be headlines everywhere. There wasn't any headlines, and I think both Kyle and Shane Flanagan deserve a massive rap for that, and they don't get the raps for it because like. You know, you look at like say the Nathan Cleary and Ivan Cleary situation. They get raps for it because they win the comp.
They're winning, yeah.
Whereas the Dragons, you don't actually get that much raps for it because they're not, in the top 8. However, it's still the same pressure situation where, if anything, like, the fact that they missed the 8 and people still, even Dragons fans weren't blaming that on Kyle. I know he was out for the last few rounds, but the fact they weren't blaming on Kyle shows you how much he was doing his job. Because the easy scapegoat in that whole scenario would be Kyle Flanagan whenever they lost.
Yeah, for sure.
But no one really, I didn't see it anyway. Let us know in the comments, Dragons fans. Do you agree? Do you think Kyle and Shane did a really good job last year of just doing their job? Or do you think that, potentially they should bring a guy like Ilias or Croft in? Me personally, I'm going Flanagan, I'm going Atkinson. And I'm throwing a decent wicket at Atkinson too. Because if you, let's say you offer him 600K, which is a fucking decent wicket.
Yeah, it is.
But if he can be your 6 for the next 5-6 years,
Sure.
maybe even longer, that's actually cheap. I mean, he went down to Melbourne and beat Melbourne with the Sharkies.
Yeah.
And I know they have absolutely no depth in the half, so this is a bit silly to say now, but down the track, like he can play any position. So it's good to have someone like that
Yeah, he
too.
can play fullback. He can play 6. He can play 7. He can play 14.
Pretty sure he played on the wing one game this year for the Sharks too.
It's a good point. That's a really good point. So, what excites me about a Flanagan-Atkinson combination is if Flanagan can reach his potential that we've all known he has in him. Like I think most fair people will look at Kyle Flanagan and say, "There's a good half in there. He just needs to land at the right place at the right time."
It's always been on the cusp, hasn't
Yeah,
it?
like even when he was at the Sharks initially, killed it, went to the Roosters. They came 4th.
He had a really good year.
And then they moved him on like essentially immediately.
Yeah.
Then he goes to the Bulldogs, and like the Bulldogs were in an absolute basket case at that point.
Hard to judge on that.
Very hard to judge on that. And so with Flanagan, who's to say that this isn't just the right setup for him to flourish as a player? And also he's probably 26, 27 now. So he's getting into those years where they do become their best version of themselves.
Matured.
And then you've got Atkinson, who is 23 or so. Like, who's to say they can't build a great combination? I think, at the very least, I think they've got the potential to be a good combo that can grow together.
Yeah, I agree.
So hopefully that works out. I'd be throwing a fair bit at Atkinson just because of the fact that if it works, and also who else is on the market as a 6?
No.
Yeah, I can't think of many.
Yeah, you're right, though. If you pull
Not for 2025.
Like, I know 600 sounds like a lot, but 600 for a starting half, like when you actually think it's actually not that much.
No, it's not.
And what you get him for like a 3-year deal? Hopefully try to get like a 2-year deal or a 3rd year in your favour. And maybe you go 657. I know, and the 7's your favour.
Like you said, I know it seems like a lot, but that value is easily factored into any team's cap for a starting six.
For a starting 6. And so okay, you're paying your starting 600, and another club that's killing it's paying at 600. But the problem is you have to spend the money. It doesn't get put onto the next cap.
Yeah.
On top of that, the other question the Dragons have to ask themselves, if they don't have any young guys coming through, and actually, didn't they re-sign is it Tonga?
It's like I'll look it up. It's like Tonga King.
So look, he might come on and kill it. So if he does come on and kill it, that's great. You go with the young fella. But let's say they don't have anyone else. They're faced with the other option of, okay, let's say we don't pay 500 to 600K for Atkinson, then we go into a new year with no 6. So what's the okay? Let's go. All right, Atkinson's value on the open market right now, without any market pressure, let's just say it's 450. Are you willing to spend an extra 150K instead of going into a new year with no half? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
I think you are.
Or
you would be willing.
2 7s.
Yeah, exactly. I think you would be willing to do that.
I think so.
His name's King Tonga. He's 19.
Yeah, 19. So look, if Dragons probably have a good measure on this, he could come up and maybe he's the man. So if he's the man, awesome. Go with him, back him in, put him in with Kyle Flanagan, good to go. But if he's probably not ready yet, or he needs another 2 or 3 years because he's still so young, you bring Atkinson in, you put him on his 550, 600K contract for the first year, give it a crack, see how it goes.
And I think he's more than shown enough for that value as well.
Surely.
Like, he has.
I think he has.
And also,
he
at the
has.
very least, let's say he comes in and he struggles and he goes, okay. There would be other clubs that would chip in at least 300 to 400K for a depth half. And so let's say you've signed him for 600 and it doesn't work out. And you go, look, it's going so poorly and it's smashing our cap so much, we need to get rid of him. There would be other clubs that would go, okay, we'll chip in 400, you just chip in the extra 200. It's not that much of a risk when you think of it.
Your other worst case scenario is that for whatever reason, maybe the young fella steps up, but you end up with potentially a pretty cracky utility role as well.
Yeah, exactly. And Atkinson can play
That's what I mean.
14,
So it's not all doom and
fullback.
gloom.
Yeah, and also maybe the young gun kills it in 2 years' time. Gutho is in his last puts and then all of a sudden Atkinson puts into fullback. So, yeah, I think it's a pretty win-win situation if you go Atkinson route.
so.
I know like Hunt's leaving, but where do you place the Dragons for next year?
It's so tough because,
It's tough.
once again, Shane Flanagan, every time you count this bloke out.
I'm not backing against him.
Yeah, put it this way. Yeah, if I'm a betting man, he's a hard man to back against because he just finds a way. He finds a way. However, if they were bottom 4, it wouldn't surprise me at the same time because they've just lost their main man in Ben Hunt. I don't know. If it was not any other coach, but if it was most other coaches, I would say they're going to struggle. But because it's Shane Flanagan, I just too hard to back against. He'll find a way.
He will.
He will find a way.
I've fallen into the trap too much, like Dragons, but specifically last year. I thought they were going to come, I think, last or second last.
Yeah.
Nah, not happening this year.
They were this close to the 8.
Yeah, they were one game off.
And Ben Hunt had probably one of his not so good years, probably his worst year in, what do you reckon, 3 years at the Dragons?
Oh, easy.
A very up and down year. Don't get me wrong. He had a lot of try assists, but it was a very up and down year. And also the back end of the year wasn't the best for Benny Hunt. And he still managed to pull it off. So
I agree. Probably one of the hardest teams to tip, but yeah, you can't write them off.
it's just it's the Shane Flanagan factor.
it is, it
he
is.
almost works better in chaos. And so, yeah, we'll see what happens. But outside of that, there's been like kind of more stuff released from the Tiger situation about people getting breached and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I already said it on the SEN show this morning. The one thing I'd say is like, whether it's the player managers or the club, I don't know who it is. I think it's a bit of both, if I'm being honest. I think the club's leaking stuff and I think the player managers, but it's got to stop. If you're a player manager leaking this stuff, you're not helping your player.
No.
You're not helping the club. You're not helping the player's future.
Disaster, bro.
And then if you're the club, it's like how can you expect to set a standard where player managers aren't leaking stuff if you're going to leak stuff as well? It's got to stop. And look, I'm all for, like, you've been at the Melbourne Storm. I've been at the Broncos early 2000s when they won the comp. And obviously I've had nothing to do with it. But what I mean is I saw high standards. I saw the highest of the highs. Your web keys, your Petros, your Lockies. So I'm all for high standards. I agree with Tigers. However they need to set the standard. So I want to be really clear with that. I agree with them setting high standards. But you can set high standards without it getting leaked to the media.
It's not public.
Keep it internal.
But this exact topic is it's like Bible at the Melbourne Storm.
Yes.
Like if this shit got out, oh, mate.
And look, I get it. You're the Tigers. You've been the punching bag of the NRL for years now.
Yeah.
And player managers have been using you and manipulating you. And you're a new administration that has inherited the old administration's decisions. I get the feeling of why it's us versus them. But at some point, you've just got to... No leagues.
It's also just not
leagues.
what the Tigers need right now. Like, it really isn't.
Yeah.
They've got an opportunity to clean slate. With the recruitment that they've done, their number one priority would be building a new culture.
Yeah.
Like 100%. And this is everything but that.
I know. And I know like a lot of Tigers fans, look, Richo's come out and said there's no more leaks. But then he's quoted in the paper basically telling Bateman to leave. And it's just like that kind of stuff I wish they would keep it all in-house.
Same.
And as I said, I know, like, if it's purely the player managers, like, I'd go as far as, like, let's work out a world where, let's say it is just purely player managers leaking all this stuff. I'd be getting the NRL to step in if I was the Tigers. Like, I would seriously be ringing the NRL up and going, guys, they are hurting the game. They're hurting the club. And we need you guys to step in and I don't know how you would punish them. Like a letter, something. I would be, if I was the Tigers, I would be ringing the NRL straight away and saying, we cannot go another decade with player managers just treating us like, manipulating us in the media.
Yeah. I agree. Well, who else are you going to ask? A little bit of leadership from the NRL, just put the foot down.
Yeah, just go like, guys, this
Drop
hurts
the hammer. It can't
everything.
happen.
If you keep leaking stuff, the players play worse, the fans get more disengaged, and then all of a sudden Tigers fan base continues to diminish. I guess the problem, the reason why I'm assuming the Tigers can't ring the NRL is, honestly, in my opinion, I do think the Tigers still leak stuff. I do think they do, and they just got to stop.
Yeah.
And the player managers, they got to stop too. We had a really good caller on the SEN show today, the B team, and he was like, it seems like at the Tigers, there's this us versus them mentality of like administration versus player manager that they've got to sort out. He made a really good point, and I agree. They've got to sort that us versus them mentality because, like, if you're a player manager, and I understand Storm and Penrith win comps, they win premierships, so they have more clout in the market. But if you're a player manager dealing with the Storm, if you go around and act in a bad way, the Storm will just brush you. You're done. You got to work with the club, not against them.
And as you said, yes, success does help a lot of things, but they're successful for a reason, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These things don't just happen. It is the way the administration runs. It is the way they communicate. It is the standards that they are willing to accept.
Yeah.
Mate, if you're a manager playing these sort of games at the Storm,
you're gone.
On your bike. No chance.
And I guess, like, we'll take the Storm and Penrith out of it.
Yep.
There are other clubs that don't have that many leaks. Like Tigers have it is constant. It's just constant. So I want to be real clear, Tigers fans. I agree with the high standards. I like that they're setting their feet.
100%.
Good on them. However they want to do it. Like, look, breaches and all that kind of stuff, it's a little bit weird, but the method is irrelevant to me. Just get these boys in the best nick as possible. I agree with all that. It's just whether it's the player managers or the club, keep it in-house, please. Please keep it in-house because if they can keep it in-house, I think that this new administration has recruited unbelievably. I said it on the show this morning.
Mate.
Everyone now sits there and goes, oh, Jerome Luai, yeah, he is the man. He can lead a team around. We have to remember, it was the Tigers that saw it first. They actually saw it before even Ivan Cleary saw it. Ivan Cleary was quoted saying, I don't know whether Jerome Luai can be the main man. And now Ivan Cleary here has come out since then and said, like, look, I was just thinking out loud. Like, I didn't mean it in a negative light. So I'm not suggesting Ivan meant it in a negative light. But what I'm saying is that the West Tigers should be credited for seeing Luai as a $1 million main marquee man before anyone did. I didn't know whether he was. I'm not going to sit here and pretend when they signed him on that much money as a 7 that I was like, that's definitely going to work. And then what happened? Luai came out, killed it this year. Now everyone goes, oh, yeah, 100% he's the main man.
Yeah.
The Tigers saw it before anyone. This administration, they saw it before anyone.
He's going to have a huge impact. That photo the other day that was posted of like their top 5 recruitments, I'm excited.
Yeah, mate. Hunt, May, Luai, obviously Appy from a couple of years ago, Taruva, Skelton. Mate, they've done really, really well. Like, so there's so many things going right at the Tigers. If they could just clean up the leaky stuff, I think they're heading in the right direction. Now, the proof will be in the pudding. We'll wait and see how they go on the field. But I think that so far, recruitment-wise, I think they've done well heading into this year.
Oh, yeah.
Easily. They're easily
Arguably
the best. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Again, if player managers, I'll just reiterate, player managers, just stop, please. Please. You're not helping your young fella either. Like, it just puts more pressure on him as well. Like, if it was a player manager that leaked that his player got breached, it's like, how does that help the kid? Now everyone knows that he was the one that rocked up, wasn't up to standard. So anyway, we'll see. Look, maybe I've got it all wrong, and it's the players that leaked it. I don't know, but just however you can fix it, please just fix it. I want the Tigers to turn around.
And also, just to be clear, like, this shit goes on at all clubs.
Yeah,
but the way it's handled is a very different situation. And don't worry, don't get it twisted. These people will get reprimanded, and there'll be harsh penalties, and they'll be feeling it internally just as they are externally. But like, it's 4 walls mentality. This shit stays in the club and it's dealt with and it's handled. And you give the players and everyone else an opportunity to progress and buy in. But
that's
this
a great
shouldn't
point.
be a conversation that is had publicly right now.
That's a really good point. Like, this happens at clubs all the time, guys. People miss targets. There's issues. There's people that are late that don't rock up to training. Like, this is young people we're dealing with here. The difference is it's dealt with internally, and we never hear about it.
Yep.
There's so much stuff that happens at clubs that the public never hear about, which is good. That's what should happen. Boys, we haven't done an algo check. What's the algo looking like this week?
Have you seen the Instagram feature? You can you can wipe your algorithm and start again.
Wow.
He must be listening. He must be listening to the algorithm gods, the Instagram guy. So you can actually reset your Instagram. What's your Instagram looking like at the moment?
Mine's an overflow from last weekend, Kempy. Obviously, a lot of big fights, a lot of action, a lot of shit happening.
Yep.
We spoke about it. I know we were texting each other, and it was like, yep, I thought so. The old Tyson, but there's enough footage. It's not quite on the Dragon theory, but there's enough footage coming out for me to believe that I'm pretty certain there was an arrangement.
I don't know about, like, I don't think there was an arrangement of like.
Have you seen the latest clips that some people put together?
I think, look, what I think is this.
It was horrible to watch.
This is what I think, bro. I think that Jake Paul was told, bro, don't knock a friggin' 60-year-old out. And I think that you saw in the first or second round where he wobbled Mike and he immediately stopped throwing punches. I think Jake Paul was told, bro, just don't knock him out, whatever you do.
So the videos are on the other side. First round, Tyson chasing him, hitting him, and you watch it. I know it's cut up and edited, but he hits Jake Paul a few times. He smacks Jake Paul with a jab. Jake Paul goes back about 2 meters, and then from then on, they do show this clip of a little huddle, and Mike taps him on the back, and then from then on, it's like Mike's pulling his punches. He's not even doing anything. So I don't know if it went both ways or who was the orchestrator, but
you can't fake looking like
I think
he had
there was
no
an
legs.
arrangement.
You reckon there was an arrangement?
I think so. And look, it might be one of the greatest gets ever, but at the end of the day, from a business perspective, like, they set up a Tyson fight, everyone was going to watch it. It's a bit of a travesty, to be honest. But thank God it was free, I'd say.
See, I'm of the belief that I think Mike is nearly 60 years old. I don't think he has the power to knock Jake Paul out. And I know people have tried to say, oh, look at him on the pads. Look how powerful he is. It's pads, bro.
Yeah, no, that doesn't reflect.
Bro, if you look at those pads and go, oh, wow, that's what it's. You've never been into a boxing gym. You can find guys that look like genuinely Mike Tyson in his prime on the
world
pads,
champions.
And they get in the ring and they are terrible, like actually terrible.
It does not translate.
It doesn't translate at all. It's pads.
Me, though, like, I understand a little bit, and then the commentator chiming in and going, "Nah, I've seen it before. He's done it before." And then Boy Jones carrying on about the mouth. That glove biting was strange.
But he always used to do it though.
But this was like,
yeah, but it's clearly a tick.
Yeah, but it was so much.
Yeah. Oh, look, me personally, I think Jake Paul was definitely told don't knock him out. But you think it's the other way around. You reckon Mike Tyson was told don't knock him out.
These are the videos circulating,
yeah. Me personally, I think Tyson is 60 years old.
Yeah, bro, 100%.
I just don't think he's got the power.
watch.
Look at his legs, bro. They're gone.
Gone.
Like, he can barely move.
Yeah.
Like, because what I have seen videos of comparing old Mike with new Mike. And so what would happen is old Mike and new Mike would bob and weave the same, but then the counter punch wouldn't come with old Mike, as in older.
Yes.
Because his legs are gone. He doesn't have the power in his legs to put himself in the position to throw the punch. Whereas people go and see, that's evidence that he was pulling his punches. It's not. It's evidence that his horse strength in his body and his ability to plant his feet to throw a hard punch is no longer there because he's 60 he's 59 or 58 years old.
You're right. I'd love to know what people think, whether they think it was a staged on Paul's side or an agreement on Paul's side or agreement on Tyson's side.
Yeah, let us know in the comment section.
Yeah.
What I will say is definitely there was an agreement somewhere.
Yeah.
Me personally, I think Jake Paul was told to not knock him out, and I think Jake Paul was told to carry him through the fight. Similar-ish. I don't think Floyd Mayweather was told to carry McGregor. However, I think Floyd Mayweather, being just so savvy, he knew if he went out there and knocked him out straight away, just that's not good theatre. And I think Floyd Mayweather was like, look, I'm just going to carry him into the 9th, 10th round. I know he's going to gas and just put him out.
Yeah, and very different scenario.
Yeah.
Like, although McGregor's not a boxer, like,
he's still a young man.
threat,
yeah.
and he's in his prime.
Yeah. But you could even, but also go back and watch that McGregor fight with Mayweather. Bro, he was walking him down Mexican style. Yeah. Floyd Mayweather never does that.
Floyd Mayweather, yeah.
He never does that. He does it against a guy that he knows doesn't have the same punching power as actual boxers.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think there was a point early on the fight where Mayweather just went,
yeah, no power here.
I'm doing what I want.
Whereas I do think Jake Paul, I think he carried him through the fight. I think that if you go back, I think it's like round 2, he gets him with a combo, Jake Paul does, and you can see Tyson kind of stumble and get a bit dazed. And I think from that point on, Jake Paul was like, man, I'm not knocking a 58-year-old out.
I think great advice, knowing that I don't actually think the perception or the result would have been good for Jake Paul if he knocked him out.
What does he gain by that?
Nothing.
Like
Actually negative.
Negative.
Yeah.
He gains nothing. Like he is the worst bloke in the world. Whereas if he carries him through the fight, there's people that go, well, at least he carried him through the fight.
I'll tell you what, that Serrano-Taylor fight was fight of the night, though. Unbelievable.
Bro. Who'd you have win it?
I do think Serrano won.
I thought Serrano won as well.
Yeah, I think Serrano won. I mean, it's unfortunate that cut really put a bit of a dent in the
I'll tell you what, Taylor leading with a head.
Yeah, it was
so bad, bro. Like anyone that tries to pretend that Taylor wasn't fighting dirty.
Yeah, and the whole South Block Orthodox thing, like, yeah, it is an argument, but that was...
Bro, go and watch
head,
it. She's
bro.
literally going
100%.
And she's pushing. She's literally pushing with her head into her. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
She was like, and look, it's almost like league. You push the line.
Yeah, you push the boundary.
But that's
100%.
where you need a bloody good referee. Yeah. She should have had a point deducted way earlier than that, in my opinion. Like,
yeah, you had to put a stop to it early, especially after the cut. Like, you had to...
Come on.
You had to rein it in.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, UFC, some ripper fights.
Bro,
that Chandler Oliveira fight was gangster.
Bro, that last round... Chandler, bro, stand up. What are you doing getting in his gut? Actually, I'd love to get your thought. Obviously, you know Bo Nickel, Craig?
Yes.
So I'm in the minority here. A lot of people disagree with me in the comment section. So I'm more than happy to put my hand up and say I'm wrong. But I was surprised, Bo Nickel. Now, I'm not suggesting Bo Nickel should have wrestled him to the ground, Craig, and got in his guard and exchanged with him there. Because Craig he's got some great finishes on the ground. But I was so surprised he didn't mix it up. No level changes. I don't even, maybe one shoot, maybe, if that. No dirty boxing, no clinching. Bo Nickel's one of the best wrestlers literally in the UFC. And I'm not saying the best. I'm saying one of the best.
Yeah, of course.
And he didn't mix it up at all. Yeah. I was surprised by it. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree. I thought it was a little bit strange. And even here, in his interview after, he kind of leaned on the fact that he's quite inexperienced and he was being a little bit tentative. I was like, I don't know about that.
You're like, what is he like? An Olymp? Like, he's an unbelievable wrestler. Like, that is, like, for example, the way I see it is this. Would Khabib whoever he is fighting from the get-go, ever be scared of wrestling someone?
No.
No way.
That's his weapon.
That is his weapon. And so that's where I'm not saying Bo Nickel should have gone, okay, I'm going to get in his guard and start being dumb and get finished from the bottom. But at the very least, level change. Like, I personally believe, and I'm just a casual fan, guys, a striker that you have to worry about his wrestling is way more dangerous than just a pure striker. And I'll give you a perfect example. Conor McGregor is a way better striker than Khabib is.
Yep.
Who dropped 2?
Yeah.
You know why? Because Conor had to constantly worry about the takedown.
Of course.
And that's why the punch that Khabib threw was terrible technique. It was this looping overhand, but it landed because Conor was constantly worrying about the takedown. Yeah. And so I just don't know. And, you know.
Look, and that's why MMA is fucking so cool and powerful, because you got multiple weapons.
You're always like, that's why it's almost impossible to have a 0 on your record, because there's so many ways to lose.
And then Jones was Jones, like, just...
Do you reckon that was because Stipe was so bad, or do you reckon it was because Jones was so good? Or a mixture of both?
Mixture of both. Yeah. I think Stipe was done. Like, that is not a
That's not the Stipe
no way, not even close. But Jones has this beautiful skill set where it hits so much more game plan than we think, and he has all the weapons.
He just takes your weapons away.
He just does everything. If he's not kicking your knee, he's kicking your body, and then he's ground and pound, he's wrestling, and his BJJ. It's like we just spoke about what it's like to worry about someone who can strike and wrestle. What about someone who can elbow, who can tap you out, who can wrestle? It's just endless.
Bro, a heavyweight to do a spinning back kick and finish a bloke is outrageous.
Did you hear the story about what he said with his coach?
No.
So 6 months prior to the fight, he hired I'm going to say Taekwondo coach, forgive me if I'm wrong, worked with him 3 times a week, 1 hour each session on one kick.
No way.
Spinning back to the body. I love that shit. 6 months, 3 times a week, an hour on that kick. How good is that, bro?
No way.
I swear to God. How good's that?
What?
So good.
That is,
and then he I think the injuries come through, like there was I'm pretty sure kidney or spleen injury, broken ribs. So like that, it couldn't have been any cleaner. That would have hurt so much.
Bro, No one's getting up from that.
over.
No one's you're Dunskies.
Yeah.
Just call the fight immediately.
And then the conundrum is who does he fight? I mean, he's
Got to be Aspinall.
He's made some pretty big statements. Look, the ultimate would be just cop it. I know all the narrative and blah, blah, blah. The Pereira fight would be the biggest fight. But if you want to go out as the absolute greatest of all time, you knock off a young buck who's a gun, Aspinall, and then you go and fight Pereira and you walk off into the the sunset with bags of cash and the ultimate legacy.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it'll happen.
I will say, from a purely spectacle, a Pereira-Jones fight, it's so
biggest
toey.
fight in history.
It's so toey because, like, I think Jones is probably going to have too many weapons in the duffel. However, crossing that space with Pereira, he might clip you.
Yeah.
He might clip you.
I don't even care who wins, to be honest.
Neither do I.
I just want to see it.
I'd almost want Pereira to win.
Yeah.
Just because of, like, I like Pereira as a bloke more than Jones. Now, but, like, the Aspinall one, although if Jones, like, put it this way, in my mind, there's no way he's not ducking Aspinall. I believe he's ducking him 100%. But I also get where Jones is coming from in regards to, like, if his heart's not fully in it to be the best anymore and it's more just about, listen, I'm at the end of my career, I'm looking for big fights, I understand the idea of Pereira, but I just wish he would say that.
Yeah.
I wish he would just say, man.
He's not quite saying
exactly.
it. He's like dancing around it. If you just come out really bluntly and own that, I think everyone would be like, I get it, but he's kind of...
Yeah. If he came out and said, I'm John Jones, I don't have to prove shit to anyone. I want money and I want big fights.
Yeah.
I'd be like, you know what? I get it, bro, because you're right. You don't have to prove shit. But this weird, like, I'm not ducking, he's just a bum. Like, what has he done?
He's
it's
made one statement that is close to that, which is, I'm not in the business anymore of fighting young, up-and-coming fighters, which kind of has alluded to, I'll give up the belt, but just be really blunt and say, like,
just say
it's not what I'm interested in. At this point in my career, I've earned the right. I've got this huge fight that could be the biggest thing ever, and that's what I want. But I reckon I'd love to see what's going on behind closed doors because Dana has done the same thing. He's like, I wouldn't do it, but if they both are hounding me, you can't tell them to, you're not going to do it.
No, of course not. I'll tell you what, though. He already doesn't need to do it, but if he did beat Aspinall and then beat Pereira, bro, never bring up GOAT of anyone else in UFC ever again. Like, don't even mention it. Like, he is out and out. Like, even with all the drama and in regards to, like, failing this or that, it's just like...
And I don't know if there is a GOAT. Like, if you look at Jordan, LeBron, Messi, Ronaldo, whatever, he's at his own level, at the top.
You mean in all sports?
Well, yeah.
I'm going MMA. I'm just going MMA.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't think a sport has a clearly defined GOAT.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
What I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, he is clearly, like, there's not even a conversation.
Nah.
That's a great point. Yeah, I'd agree with you on that. It'd be one of the real rare situations. Like, don't get me wrong, you've obviously got cricket with Bradman, you've got Gretzky in hockey. However, it is very rare to find just a one defined GOAT. Yeah. No one argues it. Yeah. But if he was to do that, in MMA, you couldn't argue anyone else. You just couldn't. Couldn't. Alrighty. Thanks for your contribution, Matty.
Last Sunday I was hurt a bit and I forgot UFC was on. I was in bed from 12 till 6, put season 10 of The Simpsons on, put the aircon on, didn't move. That was all me.
Season 10 of The Simpsons. Oh, that's the best.
Alrighty. How do you find season 10? Like, how does that work?
And how do you know that's the best season?
Oh, I know. No, it's actually not the best season. I reckon it's like mid-tier, but it's season 8, season 4. I've just pounded them. So I was like, I haven't seen season 10 for a while, so I just put that on.
That's funny. Don't forget, guys, not this Monday, but the Monday after, we have a huge drop, something we've never done before. It is perfect for Christmas. We've got content coming out soon. Cannot wait for it. And also, guys, if you are a DJ or a music producer, for the huge opportunity to work with us, potentially full-time, shoot matt@blokeinabar.com an email. This is not a G-up. We are looking for a music producer /DJ for a huge opportunity to work with us on something, huge plans, guys. So give Matt an email, maybe send in some mixes and your resume and everything like that. And eventually what we're going to do is we'll choose, one person that we think is going to be really good to work with. But yeah, shoot Matty@blokeinabar.com. An email if you're interested.
Matt@blokeinabar.com.
Sorry, not Matty. Sorry, Matt@blokeinabar.com. An email if you're interested. And as usual, we'll go and fuck ourselves. Thank you.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.